Welcome to Royal Gist. Please push the subscribe button. So I have a cousin who works as inside Givenchy, and one of her best pals from work was on the fittings for Meghan's wedding ceremony dress. And the flower ladies. My cousin had simply went on maternity to part. However, essentially what Meghan is announcing is not anything however lies and nonsense, as she was a whole diva and dealt with the seamstresses and Givenchy group of workers, horribly so, and was nasty to Claire, who was there maximum of the time along my cousin's colleagues and excellent pal. Meghan made Catherine cry, understanding she was pregnant. And this was because she was quite nasty to Charlotte. Meghan was adamant on now no longer having Charlotte or George in the wedding celebration. However, Charles and the Queen made her accomplish that, as they may be Harry's niece and nephew, and essentially they're deciding to buy all this, so that you will do this. Meghan didn't pay for the get dressed both as Charles paid for it. And she was all the time changing her mind on what style and layout she desired for the get dressed and veil. That is why it was this kind of badly outfitted get dressed and veil, as it was essentially a remaining minute piece prepare, as she wouldn't forestall changing her thoughts. All the group of workers had been at their wits' quit due to Meghan. She could have them running on strict guidelines and long hours, however, then could shout at them announcing that their work was awful, that she didn't need it like that, and forcing them to begin throughout once more. She slapped one of the group of workers who was looking to do the best for one of the first layout thoughts that Meghan desired. Once they did not anything wrong. All the group of workers have stated that Meghan really regarded to revel in treating them like servants and continuously belittling them while on their backs about it all. Most had been fearful wrecks, and I'm satisfied my cousin was off away from it all. The Givenchy group of workers gave her nicknames consisting of had been the dictator Duchess-to-be, meddlesome Meghan and Ms. Snobby. My cousin's colleagues say they're sure that how Claire allowed Meghan to continuously deal with them. The Givenchy group of workers, however, additionally the quit result not reflecting the excessive requirements of Givenchy both is a chief element in why Claire was allowed pass so suddenly. But Claire is outwardly pretty like Meghan, in that they may be arrogant and pushy, but regarding Charlotte, Meghan hated having to encompass her as a bridesmaid and made it pretty frighteningly clean and continuously mocked and made amusing of her mainly while she could arrive from domestic or college like several younger child, a piece messy from having amusing, referred to as her overweight, and mocked her voice. Charlotte stated to Meghan about how she'd be her new auntie, like how she had her Auntie Pippa, which Meghan went off about announcing she changed into plenty higher than Pippa Middleton, who it were introduced privately, was Catherine located out from Maria who witnessed it, and each girls along with William had been livid as Charlotte were decreased to tears. However, Meghan could then mock her for crying. Ivy Mulroney isn't a pleasing little lady whatsoever, and was constantly impolite to the ladies running on her get-dressed fittings while she arrived, and Meghan really confirmed a number of favoritism closer to Ivy over Charlotte and pitted them towards one another, announcing that Ivy was going to be the excellent flower lady and that Charlotte ought to find out how a right lady behaves, essentially advocated Ivy to bully Charlotte, which she did. Charlotte ended up getting pulled out of the fittings because of how Meghan and additionally Jess and Ivy had been mocking and bullying her. That is the cause why Charlotte's get dressed didn't in shape to her right measurements, because the seamstresses needed to use Florence Van Cutsum for the best of Charlotte's get dressed. Meghan were rude to Catherine, Charlotte and Maria for quite plenty the entire thing. And a strong rumor is this is one of the motives the Fab Four summit was so tense. The shoes had been a huge trouble for the British-born flower ladies and their dad and mom, as they had been definitely uncomfortable for them. However, Meghan refused to allow them to put on tights or maybe socks and stated to the Givenchy and Aquazzura group of workers that this changed into what occurs while you coddle youngsters. They become terrible whiny brats that need the entirety. While it's for her wedding ceremony, the flower crown head wreaths had been additionally a remaining minute, and actually had Charlotte informed it earlier than she were given in the vehicle. That right here was hers. That is while it changed into fast outfitted excellent as possible, Ivy changed into singled out once more with the aid of using Megan. Because the unique one, and referred to as the mini maid of honor, that is why she didn't have a flower crown head wreath. Or her very own bouquet, as Megan had made it clean to all of the different ladies, even Remy and Rylan, youngsters of her university pal, that they weren't as correct as Ivy. The florist changed into so remaining minute getting jazzed up that it's far a cause for why the flower color scheme didn't in shape. With the wedding ceremony and flower lady get dressed colors, Claire attempted to get Megan to attempt to extra muted white becoming for a divorcee. And an understated veil. However, Megan simply screamed at her about needless bad evaluations, and my cousin's excellent pal that was there on